Good morning and welcome to Market of the Moment. Ladies, we forgot that, we've had all these conversations about doing our dance out of the timer, and we really got to get that going. That music is something. I know we're actually. Well, Amber's like, no, I'm not dancing. Actually, we got a little project underway. We got a new clip getting ready to hopefully the next week or two we'll have ready to go to do our intro, and that'll be a lot of fun.
Yep.
But my name is Don Chakowski. I'm the Director of Channel Sales for Fidelity National Title here in Arizona. And I am very excited this morning to be joined by Miss Amber Kavar, Guild Mortgage. Amber, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you
And
for having me.
and then Miss Sharon Terhune, the Vice President and Sales Manager for Fidelity National Title as well. Good morning, Sharon.
Morning. Happy Thursday, everyone.
And you guys may have noticed we're missing a couple people. So, unfortunately, Mindy had something come up last minute. So we're going to do our best to scrape together a market update. And simultaneously, we had somebody scheduled to talk about social media, and they weren't able to make it as well. So
I don't think this has ever happened. I mean, we're flying like a little solo, but that's okay.
I know, right? We got good things to say too, right?
Absolutely.
Well, and I tell you, and next week we're really excited because we'll be getting back to our social media conversation next week, and we will be talking about Instagram, and we've got a person who's doing an amazing job on Instagram, getting her messaging out there and connecting with her clients. So we're excited for that as well. So that's coming next week. But last week we talked about our social media stuff. We had our friends from Be Real Productions on, and we talked about some of the things that our partners are utilizing them for in growing their business. So, Amber, Sharon, and I were talking about, since we don't have our guest this morning and all this, what are we going to talk about? And we really kind of wanted to talk about some of the tools and the resources that we've got available to help you grow your business, right? So ultimately, Amber's job is helping get those loans done and helping your clients be able to put together their financing to buy a home. But simultaneously, she wants to see her partners growing their business as well, and Amber does a lot to do that. Mm-hmm. Same thing with us at Fidelity, right? Our role is to help our partners and their clients get that transaction processed, right? Getting all of those things I's dotted, T's crossed, to make sure that everybody is in their home on the dates that we're working on. So at the same time, we also believe, and I don't know that you'd be hard pressed to find somebody that believes more than Sharon and I about helping our partners grow their business. So today we're going to touch on some of those things that we've got available to help our folks to do more listings, to find more buyers, and all of that.
So, well, and I think, honestly, Don, before we even get into that, I think something you just said is so important. Every individual agent or team is completely different. There's no cookie cutter. The things we're going to talk about today is just touching on some ideas and things, but inevitably, us sitting down and really talking to you about what your business model looks like, and then figuring out what things we can pull from here or there, because we have so many incredible resources like at our fingertips. Literally, there's probably nothing you can throw our way that we can't figure out a solution for or have a solution for. So I think that's what I love that we do the most is really, and I know Amber does this with her clientele as well, and the agents she works with in teams, is really, looking at their business and listening to them and finding out where their pain points are and how we can really contribute to that and help.
Yeah, it's funny because I saw in the news, it was either yesterday or today, was it was 7 years ago, was the storm of the century. And I'm sure you guys remember where we had all that flooding. You couldn't go down the freeways because the freeways were flooding and all that. And that was my second or third month at Fidelity. And I remember being really lost in what in the world I'm supposed to do in a situation like that, right? But it kind of brought me back to those beginning days And Sharon, you just mentioned this, right? That how important it is to personalize for our partners, and that's something I didn't really connect with in the beginning. Well, I was still trying to figure out what to talk about, but that I would come and I would just present all these papers and all these flyers for all these things, and I actually had our marketing team putting together these folders, and they were just littered with all these different flyers, and I would just be, but Amber, what about this? And Amber, what about that? And what about this?
Pull the next one out. Pull the next thing out. Here you go.
Yeah, and the desk would be covered with papers, and everybody's eyes rolled back in their head, like, "What is this guy even talking about?"
Right.
And so it's so funny now because when I prepare for meetings now, I look on Facebook and Instagram, and I look to find out who the person I'm meeting with is, so I can help to connect with them on that level. The reality is that not everybody wants to do the same thing. And I had heard about door knocking, and I had heard about all these things that people were doing. So I talked about that during meetings, and people would look at me like, it's 115 now, right? And door knocking.
Door knocking in Arizona, well, we do. But I mean, really, we actually probably have more season to do it in than a lot of parts of the country.
Right.
Really.
Exactly. So I think that it's important that we that those conversations are had, so hopefully as we're sharing our message today, that you're going to hear something, you're like, okay, this is something I would like to have as part of my business. But then you really should be meeting with somebody from our team to dive into what that looks like for you. And Amber, I know the same thing for you. I know you've got a amazing coaching background. We spent some time talking about that last month. That you've got great tools available for your partners as well. And we've done, and before I was along here, you and Sharon partnered together on helping to put the right tools in the right people's hands. So can you tell us a little bit about at Guild, some of the tools and resources that you have available for your partners?
For sure. Our big thing is, kind of what you were saying too, about just like uncovering the individual realtor's needs. Everyone does their business a little bit differently. And I think that one of the things that I probably uniquely do is really take on sort of like a coaching accountability type of role with the realtors that want to grow. So I just met with some agents that are new to me yesterday, and they have recently joined forces as a team. And in my needs analysis meeting, I find out that they really don't have a CRM yet. They're doing some database marketing, but not in a consistent manner. And so now we're set up on every other week for as long as they want, with a 30-minute Zoom session to just talk about their database plan and how are we going to do mail, email, visiting, social media, like build out their whole plan together. And sometimes you need to do these things, but you don't take the time to do it. But when you have a meeting in your calendar with someone and that time set aside, that's when you get it done. And so we can really help our partners to get those things done in their business that have been kind of weighing on their shoulders that they know they need to do, through this accountability and through really caring about our partner's business. It's not just like, hey, we're going to close your loans on time. It's going to be smooth. We're going to help you generate referrals, but we're also going to help you to reach your goals, help you to understand where you can create efficiencies in your business, to be more structured, to be more proactive. So that stuff is really, really fun for us. And then we have always different programs that are coming out to help our buyers win in this market. We've been talking about appraisal gap strategy for a long time, and that's one that we're utilizing quite a bit. And I feel like over the summer, things slowed down a little bit, where we weren't seeing as many contracts going in over list price, waiving appraisal contingencies, doing a appraisal cap amount, but it's back. All the contracts that we're getting in are either waiving appraisal contingency or they're offering to pay so much over appraisal. And so appraisal gap is a big deal. We just had clients on Monday go under contract, and we set them up to do an appraisal gap, and they know that they can go $60,000 under their appraised value, or under their contract price. Appraisal can come in $60,000 low, and we can cover that gap for $2,600 out of pocket with a single premium mortgage insurance policy. And so they're out there actively making really strong offers because they see what's happening to prices. They know they want to get in. They know interest rates are going to go up at some point, and this is a way for them to compete. We might talk a little bit about, but the iBuyers are really strong in our market right now. They are scooping up inventory. And so I think that we need to be even more competitive right now in our offers and really reminding clients that the biggest things to focus on are the monthly payment and the cash to close. The sales price doesn't really matter so much if those two numbers meet their goals. And so if we can use some different strategies, some different tactics to help them get in this market before those prices continue to rise, then we're helping them win. And that's what we really like to do. So really, I think it's just being strategic and not being like, oh, hey, client, oh, you want 20% down? Okay, here's your loan estimate. Here's the pre-approval letter. Go get them. Let me know when you're under contract and we'll lock your rate. It's not that right now. It's a lot of like, okay, we're all on this together. What do we want to do? How can we tweak your pre-approval to make you look stronger? How can we set you up to be able to compete? Just not everybody's doing that right now.
Well, and they're doing themselves a huge disservice as a real estate agent if they're not working with a professional in the mortgage industry like you, Amber, honestly, because I guarantee that you've helped every one of your clients get transactions that would not have taken place had you not strategically told them, and push them the right direction on how to do that with that client.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And I think that it's so important that everybody examines I've had the pleasure of working with both of you for a long time now, and that when we are thrown a curveball, it's like, okay, how do we now overcome it, right? Not like okay, now Sharon, this is your problem now. Good luck, and I think that we have that happen a lot in our business, right? We have that happen a lot where it is like, okay, well, you're not able to put this over, go over asking. You're not able to deal with the appraisal issues. You're not able to, and that's the end of the story. Well, you're going to have to keep going until you find one that fits, right. Instead of breaking it down and trying to figure out a way to make something work that wasn't otherwise working. So, right. So I think that it's so important to have people that are focused on solutions, and that's who your team should be. Your team should be those people who are, okay, that didn't work. We can't necessarily fix everything, right? They're, if somebody doesn't have the credit score, if somebody doesn't have, there's only so much things we can do. But there's a lot of problem solving. We can try to work around that as well. So, right. So Amber, kudos to you and what you do. And I'm telling you that the folks that are working with you are really fortunate to be doing so, because those solutions are a big piece.
Well, and honestly, we do so much with Amber too, just in helping her clients and our clients, our partners out there to generate more business. Like we do, there's events and calling strategies and strategic lists produced, and there's just so much that we do together that it's not just about, the loans with Amber either. I mean, the coaching is ridiculous. I mean, you can go pay somebody thousands of dollars a month and still not probably feel accountable in some situations, where she's vested in your business. I mean, it's you can ask for more than that, and that's tremendous. What about you?
And she walks the walk too, because I've been in Amber's office. We were doing a call frenzy over at her office one day, and I was there a little early. I set up in the kitchen area, and I was outside of Amber's office. And I heard Amber on the phone making the calls and doing the things that she does to support her partners as well. And that was really impressive as well, that it's not just the talk, that she's actually walking the walk as well. So
yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So Sharon, what do you think here at Fidelity? We've got so many tools, right? We've got a gazillion different things. Like I said, I used to just spew the folder all over the place of things. But what would, if you had to pick a favorite, what would your favorite tool be?
Well, I think that honestly, there's a couple things, but Amber touched on something so important when she talked about database. And I think that, we could sit down with an agent that's been in the business for 20 years and have no clients in any kind of a CRM that they've tracked. Yeah. And I think today, info is king. I mean, literally, like, he who holds these relationships and these people have a long career here. I mean, they're that, as long as you're staying in touch with your database. And I think getting past with the agents that think they just have the relationship enough that they don't have to drip on them. They don't have to continually touch base with them. They just, maybe it's a once a year thing and they send a card or something, whatever it is. It's so much more than that today, because there's so many things out there that the iBuyers alone. I mean, people calling, the code callers today, just dialing your people. And if something is said right, it may catch their mind, even though they love you. You could be family, you could be close family, friends, whatever it is, it just hits somebody at the right time. So it's so important that you have your folks in some sort of a system that you can track and keep, in touch base, and have drip systems going on. And I think that's extremely important on the conversation piece. But for us, if you don't have that, obviously that's going to be the number one step. But once you have that, then taking advantage of that database on the resources we have and all the things we can do to help you drip on those folks, social media, circle prospecting on farming. And you have farm areas. I mean, we're seeing a lot of folks going back to farms. I mean, that went away for a long time. Now, believe it or not, people are starting to mail again. But you can also do target market strategies through social media with that, and not have any cost. I mean, really, you could do a lot of real estate today and have very low cost, truly, which is crazy with social media.
Sharon, I think that when you said about, making sure you're in contact with that database, and whether it's in a CRM or not, that it's important to get it there, because what's happening is, if you're not talking to your database, everybody else is. And communication is really easy these days, right? Once you put your systems in place, making sure that you've got communication happening to and with your clients and your partners is it's all happening. So
and even if it means we're just giving them posts once a week, here you go, post this on your Facebook group, so all your friends and family and everybody see something about real estate going on, and it reminds them that you're in real estate. I mean, there's so many ways to do it. So a database, yes, a CRM, but it's also, are you friends with all these people on social media? Yeah. And I bet if you ask that question, a lot of people, you're going to get a lot. Well, most, but I don't know if everybody is, Yeah.
Well, and I think that, for somebody who maybe hasn't been doing this for 20 years and doesn't have that massive database, the ease in building a database or building a farm area today is amazing. We've got tools where we can help we help you evaluate a geographic farm, right? Is this the area that makes sense for me to work, right? Are the turnover rates right? Are the average sales price right? Is it something that geographically makes sense for me to work? So we've got amazing tools that we're able to do that. And then instantly have all the records of all the people who live in that area. And then from there, it's just a matter of getting phone numbers and email addresses, and we've got systems and tools for that as well. So if you're 20 years in the business and you've had all these contacts and all these transactions, and you've had all of these things that have helped to for you to have these people already know and like you, so you should definitely be working with them. If you're not in that position, if you're newer to the business or you're new to the area, then taking advantage of these other tools and helping these other people get to know and like you is important, right? So, and Sharon, you're spot on with the social media stuff as well. It is so inexpensive to run Facebook market campaigns to your select areas, and to keep that cost down, not necessarily lead generation, but just a brand recognition thing. You can do those for pennies, and so that's an area where
we have resources too, where, if you pick a farm area, even if that community has 500 homes in it, we're going to probably say, hey, listen, you know what? We're going to tell you the 25, 50 most likely people, and that's who you're going to target. Instead of spending a whole bunch of money, let's figure out who is actually likely to sell in there. And then we have a great system in place that you can just take it from there and circle prospect those people. Like you said, phone numbers, emails, mail, postcards, all those kind of things. Systems are already all in place for you at a very simple phone call, at very inexpensive to you. you know, with you contacting your Fidelity sales exec. I mean, you can literally get that going today and not feel like, because I think about how much, I mean, mail is what, like a 0.5% response generally,
yeah,
right?
0.5% lead generation rate.
0.5%. So, you know, it's 0.5% because if you're mailing to 200 people, I mean, do the math, 0.5%. Well, then why not just target the people that are probably the most likely, which is going to make your percentage go up, right? Instead of focusing on everybody and just spending a whole bunch of money.
Well, and then we've got the tools that also are the smart tools, right? So, so with you know, being able to send a postcard to somebody and knowing if they're checking things out afterwards, you know, being able to take that, you know, to another level to be able to track that card, having tools like that are really important as well. And those are not a whole lot more expensive. And if you're using those targeted lists, those likely sellers, and you're really being wise on how you're spending your money, because it's always been kind of this buckshot approach of like, you know, we're gonna, you know, hit everybody in this neighborhood. We're going to send out 500 postcards. It's going to cost us, you know, between $300 and $500 to do so.
Right.
Well, what if we could take those and say, okay, these are the 50 people who are most likely, who are showing behaviors right now that indicate that they're considering selling their home. And now we can track whether or not they got our postcard and looked at it, looked at their home valuation and those kind of things. So bringing those tools together is a big piece.
Right. Right. And I mean, you know, we could go down so many different avenues of marketing. I mean, whether you want to do the phone calls, the mail, open houses is another one. I mean, we have incredible tools wrapped around open houses and several in technology. I mean, our app alone, I mean, you can literally be a rock star in an open house if you introduce, you know, our app to someone, because they're going to capture everybody's information before they walk out of the house. I mean, forget about your guest registry book. You don't need it if you've got the app, you know?
Well, and Sharon, I don't know the last time that you were in that app, and for me, sometimes it gets a little bit between my times in there. And I was in there recently, and I was walking somebody through it, and I'm pulling up the app right now because I want to put in the comments. I want to put a link so people can download it.
Oh yeah, perfect.
And
perfect.
But I was, you know, for the buy side estimates, there is a page in that app where it will tell you. You know, it's going to tell how much money, you know, estimates to close, what the monthly payments are going to be about. It's going to kind of go through those things. Getting the numbers from Amber with the pre-approval are going to always be your best thing, but you can change taxes based on the area, and there's just so much that you can do with it all. Sorry, I'm trying to get this copied here, so I can put this onto the comments here. But they actually have one now where, like, you put in the address on the property and it'll tell you what the schools are around the property. It'll tell you what the walk scores are for the businesses around the property. So really, really cool.
It's really cool. And it's got marketing flyers in there. We have agents that will walk into listing appointments, and, you know, someone will want to know exactly kind of what they're going to get out of it. And by the time the agent, you know, either they'll do it live right there for the person and say, here, I'll send it to you right now. What, you know, I'll text it to you, I'll email it to you, whatever, and have won listings because they were so quick and efficient on getting over what the person wanted. Yeah.
So this is the link. If you guys go to this post, you're able to see this link there, and you'd be able to go directly there and download the app. And then if you need help with it, we are happy to get somebody from our team to make sure that we're helping you get that all connected. So
yeah, great, awesome.
So I know we weren't going to spend a whole lot of time on all these things this morning, Sharon, but we just kind of wanted to talk about some of the cool Fidelity things that we've got out there. Anything you feel like I'm missing before we move on to our market updates?
No, I just say, you know, if you haven't sat down in a while with your Fidelity salesperson, contact them. If you, you know, want to come work with us, you know, I'm happy, Don's happy to connect you, you know, with anyone in your given area. But it's so important to sit down, you know, at least yearly and really evaluate what you're doing and what you're spending money on, because I guarantee you we can save you money and generate more transactions for you. So
yeah, absolutely. So
yeah, thanks, James.
Thank you, James. Appreciate you. So, okay. So, Amber, anything we're missing on your side? Anything else that we wanted to make sure that we talked about as far as tools that you're providing?
No, I don't think so. Just remembering that we have bridge loans internally. So in case you have someone that's looking to do a sell by and needs to access equity but doesn't want to sell first and go contingent, let us know how we can help you there. And I think that with all these tools that Dawn and Sharon just mentioned, pick one that you
Mhm.
think is, going to make the most impact in the areas that you're focused on, and learn it, because it can be overwhelming and then we don't do anything. So if you just pick one and you learn it and you ask your Fidelity sales rep which one they think is most impactful, technology is not the silver bullet, but it's definitely going to create efficiencies for you. And why not? So I would definitely check those out.
Well, and Amber, I love what you just said, because again, when we sit down with somebody, it could be so overwhelming if they start and go, I need to do 50 transactions this year to survive. Like, this is what I need to do. Okay, 50 transactions. Let's break it down monthly. Let's break it down to weekly and daily activities and what you need to be doing. And you're right. If they just adapt one thing, it doesn't matter. I'm going to be the farming queen. I'm going to be the circle prospecting queen. I'm going to cold call. I'm going to door knock. I'm going to do open houses. I'm going to, mail, whatever it is in your world and what you want to do. I'm going to buy leads. Okay, fine, whatever. There's a million things you can do. We didn't even get into leads. I mean, we have a million leads. We can't even, I mean, we could spend another hour talking about lead streams. So that's the most important thing, is don't get overwhelmed. Just break it down. Okay, I got to do this and this. If you do the activities, activity leads to results. It always does. Lack of activity is why you don't succeed. Pretty much. That's,
right. Absolutely.
Yep.
So, okay, well, Amber, let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about what's happening in the money world.
Okay.
How are things looking out there? Are we seeing any big shakeups and changes with all of the things happening in the world?
Yeah. So a big report came out yesterday. It's called the JOLTS report. It was the July job openings and labor turnover survey. And it showed that we have 10.9 million jobs that have been posted and not filled yet. It's the highest level ever in the US history. And so we have more than enough jobs available for people to fill to return our unemployment rates to better than before COVID. As you've probably heard or seen, especially in like hospitality, the problem that we're having is getting people to take the jobs. And so, like right now with the unemployment rates, well, actually, the $300 weekly federal supplement for unemployment ended last week. So we could see more jobs getting filled, but previously people were making more on unemployment than they were by taking some of these jobs. And so it's been a very interesting time to have so many jobs posted, and then still seeing the unemployment numbers so high. And so time will tell as those jobs continue to get filled what that looks like. We also received today the jobless claims report. So these are new initial jobless claims, was down to 310,000, which was lower than the expectations of 335 and the lowest since the pandemic started. And so we're seeing the increasing and improving trends in employment right now as these jobs get filled and the unemployment numbers get better. That's when the Fed is really going to start talking about tapering on their mortgage-backed security purchases. And one of the Fed members just recently said that, a voting member said we should begin tapering. So remember that when the Fed begins tapering, we're expecting interest rates to pop up quite a bit, maybe 0.5% to 1% on the news. And so we have this short-term window of these low interest rates. So all the more reason to help our buyers be really competitive out there in making offers and winning. Right now, we're still seeing interest rates super low. I mean, we're high twos to low threes. You can't beat it.
Right. Yeah. That's a. I think, as we look at the long-term impact of everything we've seen over the last 2 years, this is one of the areas that I think that has been the greatest opportunity for people, is the fact that the cost of money has been down so low that people are able to afford things that they otherwise weren't able to afford. And which has spurred so many of the other activities that we've seen. People going into the move-up houses and all that. And so if you are somebody who's in that position, or if you're working with people who are in that position, making sure that you're keeping them informed of what's happening, and that it's not going to say you're not going to be able to get a 2.85% interest rate forever. And that if you're in that opportunity to do it, that you probably should do it soon. And when you look at that cost of money versus the cost of house, that it really should help to make that decision easier when we can see, that maybe you're not exactly where you want to be on the price of the house, but the money costs so much less that you're still able to keep those payments in line with what you're looking to do. So
yeah, for sure. So we'll keep you posted on the messages about tapering, but that's what I would be communicating out to my clients, is the reminder that this is not a long-term opportunity. And so if you want to get in with interest rates as low as they are, buy sooner than later.
Perfect. Excellent. So I know that that you and Sharon are going to kind of join forces a little bit, playing the role of Mindy. And and
this is tough shoes to fill, by the way. This isn't this isn't an easy ask.
Well, and I just, Mindy does such a great job of keeping us on track of what our inventory is looking like, and we like to tease her about getting us more. That might be why she's actually not here today, because you guys might not be telling us how we've increased inventory.
That's awesome.
So, how are things looking?
Yeah, I mean, I think, according to Cromford, and I'll just kind of quote a few things that kind of taken place here over the last couple of weeks. I mean, we are starting to see signs of a little bit of signs of market stabilization, which, because fewer listings are coming to the market in the past 2 weeks. So we are seeing a little bit of that, but the demand has definitely picked up. And Amber alluded to this earlier when we were talking. That we're seeing more contracts come through and more stuff come up on them, and people getting aggressive about getting these homes. So, we did see a little bit of decrease through the summer on that, but those contracts are definitely getting more accepted today. So, so definitely a lot more activity right now. We obviously are still experiencing, record low, inventory, obviously. We've talked about this every single week, but we do have 1,000 more houses on the market that have gone on the market going into September than we saw in previous months. So there's a lot more houses coming, and like 2,000 more than like we saw in previous quarters. So there's definitely more homes coming on, obviously, but demand is still keeping up there as well. And it's hard to believe these inventory numbers really were still about half of the inventory we had 2 years ago, which is kind of crazy to think about. So you're talking like 2019, pre-pandemic. So we have a while to go, to be considered a balanced market. A balanced market here in Phoenix, and I know Mindy talks about this all the time, is considered to be a 3 to 6 month inventory. And that's around 25 to 30,000 homes on the market. And right now we're still sitting below 7,000. So we've got a ways to go to be considered, back to, a normal balanced market, or whatever the new balance is going to be. I don't know. Home prices are expected to continue rising, and which is great news. We don't think they're going to rise as quickly as they did earlier in the year, mostly like the second quarter. But they definitely will continue rising, as the demand's still there. And hottest price points, which is not a surprise either, and we talked about the iBuyers earlier as well. The hottest price points are still sitting between 400,000 and 600,000, which makes perfect sense because this also fits right into the majority of those iBuyers buy boxes as well, which is why you're seeing so much activity in that price range. I think we started a little lower a while ago, and then now they're up to that 4 to 6.
Seems like only 2 or 3 years ago, like 300,000 was like that
Right.
tipping point.
Right.
It is now $100,000 higher is that tipping point.
Right.
It's amazing.
Well, and good luck finding a home, like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like a single family residential, with price increases and things. which is why their buy boxes, I think, have also skipped up a bit because they used to be up to maybe 5. Now they're definitely itching up higher. We're still seeing the most activity in the Valley happening in 4 hotspots, and that would be Glendale, Peoria, Surprise, and Tempe are the 4, highest demand areas right now going on in Maricopa County. So lots of activity. I know here at Fidelity, we are still seeing lots and lots of contracts coming in, headed to another record year. I mean, it's unbelievable. Commercial is on fire this year. I won't even get into too much on commercial, but commercial real estate is having an incredible year. So, which is interesting because I think personally, I would have thought with everything that took place last year with businesses and stuff that wouldn't have been the case, but it's 100% the case. And going into fourth quarter is expected to really explode on the commercial. And we're seeing a lot of activity in the new home build. So it's really, it's a good time to be in real estate right now. It's a good time to buy a home, sell your home. I mean, and like Mindy talks about all the time too, if you're sitting here waiting for prices to drop, don't, because you're either going to get it on the sell your house or the buy. I mean, it's, there's no, unless you're in an apartment right now and you're just waiting. I mean, I don't know, but now is the perfect time to buy.
Yeah. Sure. Well, the tough thing about it is that if you wait and the price of the home goes up and the price of the money goes up,
right,
then that's really where you find yourself in a tough position, and you're not able to fulfill your wants as far as what that next home looks like.
Well, you can get priced out, like Amber said. If interest rates go up 0.5%, 1%, did that just take you out of a price range of something you could afford today with the rates of where they're at?
Yeah, absolutely. So
it's huge.
Well, ladies, thank you so much. Appreciate you, and thank you for those of you guys who checked in on us today. And we are excited next week. We are all secured with our guests, and we're all ready to go. But we do appreciate your time today, and please reach out to Amber, Sharon, or myself, or anybody else you're working with on our Fidelity team with any questions or anything else we can do to support you in your business. So have a great day. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.